Okay, so I'm going to get to talking about why it is that conservative politicians always seem to be the one who are afraid to talk about any other subject on the planet apart from taxes and to a certain extent the economy. I mean, I don't know. Have you all noticed that? Liberals, socialists, centrists, communists, fascists, Ku Klux Klan, Joseph Stalin, all these different people, Greens, all these different people, they have an opinion for everything, whether it's security, homosexuality, climate change, the economy, jobs, crime, all sorts of stuff. These people have an opinion on everything, and they are not afraid to show it. God willing, the devil is alive. They are not afraid to express their views. Before I go any further, let me just say again, look, this room that we're in right now, this is the first. This is the room where I made my first Iranization video. I mean, that was way back in 2011, I believe. This is my father's study. It's a grand place. I can only record here when I'm at my parents' house. But this is where I made it. This is my microphone. I used to record with a phone. I got this far, but now I'd like to do even better. Better microphones, my own website, all this stuff. I need your help, guys. Somebody did send me a donation just now, and I'm going to tell you who that is right now. Right now, it was I just checked my email and I saw it. Um, Benita Maria Ryan. I want to thank you. You're a patriot from Alberta. You are a patriot. Thank you very much. I appreciate that 100%. You are a patriot. And you are one of the foot soldiers who doesn't wait to see if someone else does something. You do it beforehand. Because right now, as I said, this is an internet war we are in. The globalists they're getting tough. The people who own the internet, they're getting tough. They want to turn this into the new TV where we don't have rights, we don't have to get to choose what we want to watch or listen to or anything like that. They're getting rid of it. They're going to demonetize people permanently. They're demonetizing all my videos. We're going to beat them. We're going to, beat them. So donate to me. If it's even $1, just $1, a loony, one yellow coin, just donate that. You know where to go. Go down to the top of the comments section. You'll be gone to my PayPal, and you can donate however amount. $1 even. Even. I mean, don't do anything below $1. That's just an insult. $1. And if you do that, okay, you want to insult me, go ahead. Hey, anything's better than nothing, but $1. But let's go on to the subject. Um, it seems the conservatives, not just in Canada, but in America, not so much in America, but definitely in Canada, definitely in Europe, all they are confident about talking about is lowering taxes and sometimes the economy. Even though lately with the economy, they're afraid to talk about even that because a lot of their views, they think people would see them as unpopular. Privatization, cut wasteful spending, people who are not supposed to be on welfare. You take that welfare away from them. I say yay and amen to that. Let me tell you something about black folk in America. Before the Great Society and New Deal and all this stuff, not trying to bash those things because many people rely on Medicare, Medicaid. I'm not saying that. But before all of that, black folk used to own businesses in Harlem. They used to in Baltimore and Detroit. They used to own things. They did their own stuff. I mean, so all this stuff, Lyndon Johnson and Franklin Roosevelt, Lyndon Johnson, of course, who famously said he's going to have niggas voting Democrat for the next 100 years. Well, he's successful. You can't blame him. He said it. He's successful. But the conservatives are afraid to talk about these things or talk against many of these things. They're afraid. It's just mind-boggling to me. When it comes to the environment, they don't want to talk about it. When it comes to the gay issue, they don't want to talk about it. When it comes to even cutting the deficit, they barely want to talk about how they want to do that. They say they want to do it, but they don't know how they're going to do it. The only thing conservatives really, really have confidence in talking about is lowering taxes. Have y'all noticed that? I mean, honestly, have y'all noticed that? I mean, okay, and I say this, and this is one of the reasons why I became an independent. You would be surprised at how many people would agree with the traditional conservative position on many of these issues. You would be surprised. I mean, very surprised. Not most people, ordinary people, in the grocery store, on the street, on the bus, most people, ordinary type of people, don't appreciate carbon taxes, don't appreciate, pride flags markered all over the streets and all over the schools. A lot of people just think it's just too much. I mean, they're not necessarily homophobic or anything, but they think it's too much. It's in our face, but they're not going to say it, but they believe it. They're the silent majority. A lot of people do think that we need to start carding people in dangerous neighborhoods, and we need to get tough on these crimes and all this stuff. Many people agree with that. A lot of people would if you talk to them. But it's like conservatives, I don't know what is wrong with them. They're just so chicken. They're just so, and this is the thing that's wrong with Andrew Scheer, and that's why he's probably not going to win. I'm telling you right now, he's probably not going to win. If you look online on social media, a lot of the base of the right are angry with Scheer. They wouldn't vote for him. They wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole. I mean, they would rather lick the seat of a toilet, which some person infected with AIDS and Ebola sat on for 2 days and took a big old dump on. They'd rather lick that toilet seat than even go anywhere near Andrew Scheer. That's how resentful they are of his cowardice. I mean, people like Andrew Scheer, people like Theresa May, even to a certain extent, Doug Ford, for example. I mean, the other day, a reporter asked him a question about, I don't know whether it was pro-life or abortion. He didn't want to talk about it. We're not bringing up abortion. Here's what I would do if I was a leader here. And I'm not saying I'm a right winger or a left winger. I'm an independent. You all know that by now. This is what I would do. First, let's start with climate change. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but here's what I'm going to do. I'm against the carbon tax. And not only am I against the carbon tax, I'm also against taking land, privately owned land, and closing it off to the private sector and making it government land. Nobody can do anything with it. Green belt, all this stuff. A lot of people are afraid to talk about that. Doug Ford was afraid to talk about that. He briefly mentioned it. He got tore up so badly, worse than a person who jumped into a yard full of 10 junkyard dogs. He got tore up and he ran away. I wouldn't go anywhere. I would say, look, this is the thing with taking away people's land and making it government land, and you're calling it parks or green belts or this and that. It doesn't fix the problem of beyond the green belt. It doesn't even fix the problem of Toronto. Here's what I would do. Every time a tree gets chopped down, anywhere in the country, you have to replant that tree. Not only that, all of these fossil fuel companies, these polluting companies, or companies that emit a lot of carbon, they have to plant a tree every month or every year, whatever. Do all of that sort of stuff. I would even do something whereby you see all these crazy drivers out there. Anybody who lives in big cities, I'm in the GTA, you all know that there's a lot of crazy, stupid people who are behind the wheel in the Toronto area who really shouldn't be driving. I don't know how they got their license. Look, if you get into a car accident between a certain hour of the day, 9 a.m. to 10 p.m., or uh, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m., you get into an accident, and that accident causes the highways to get backed up for hours and hours. You get your license taken. Whoever was at fault gets their license taken away forever, and don't lose one bit of sleep over it. Because the more idiots who get into these uh, preventable accidents and you take their license away, the more idiots are off the road. And I wouldn't lose any bit of sleep for it. And you know how good that would be for the environment? You can take the bus, you can take the train. And that would probably make public transit even better because more and more people would be relying on it. Secondly, let's talk about homosexuality. Nobody wants to touch that. I'm not saying that people should be prevented from loving who they want or marrying who they want to love or who they feel they are connected to. But this is what I would do, and I wouldn't be afraid to say it. Pride flags don't belong on school property, on public flagpoles. Pride flags don't belong on public roads as crosswalks. That doesn't make any sense. You are deliberately trying to push it in people's face. You're making a point. It's almost like saying, no, we don't just want freedom. We want you to accept it. We're going to shove this thing down your throat. You are going to love us. You are going to worship us. Don't just accept us. You need to drop down and praise us. We're going to make sure that no, that wouldn't happen on my watch. You wouldn't see another pride flag flying on a flagpole on any public grounds again. Not on any school grounds, city hall grounds, provincial grounds. No. If you want to fly that flag, you fly it on your veranda, you fly it on your balcony, you fly it off of on your roof in your yard, or you take it with you to Pride Parade or whatever. It doesn't belong on. It's not a public flag. That is a private flag. That's like saying we're going to have the Confederate flag on South Carolina Capitol grounds. That's not a state flag. That's not a country flag. That's not a municipal flag. That's a flag for, grumpy Southerners. They can fly that on their pickup truck. They can fly that in their trailer. They can fly that on their wherever. Don't fly that on public ground. The only flag that should be flying on public grounds is the provincial flag, the nation's flag, the city's flag, and the flag of the institution of which the flagpole is domiciled. That's my thing with this whole gay thing. And furthermore, no more teaching about homosexuality and LGBT and this radical sexual stuff in schools. None of that anymore. And I wouldn't be afraid to say it. And a lot of people support me in that too. A lot of people, a lot more than you think. That's not an unpopular position to take. And conservatives, who I know a majority of them agree with me, should be unafraid to say that. You would be surprised at how many grassroots people you'd get supporting you. But immigration, another tough topic that especially Canadian and European conservatives don't want to talk about. It's simple. If you come here illegally, you revoke your right to ever become a citizen of our nation or even to visit our nation. Now, if you happen to have a child with you or you had an anchor baby, then okay, you can stay, but you can't vote. You can't do anything that a citizen or a resident does, and that child will gradually be given a pathway to citizenship, but not you. And you have to pay a fine every year that you live here to help us secure the border, to help us so that no more illegals come in. That's a very popular position. If conservatives were to start talking like that, they'd get a lot of people supporting them. There are a lot of issues that the right could talk about. And I'm not saying this because I'm a writer, a right wing. I'm saying this as an independent who's just observing. This is just, they just don't talk about anything other than lowering taxes. And lowering taxes can also be harmful as well, because when you lower taxes to the point where you don't have any money, then you're not going to be able to pay down the large debt and deficits and stuff that we have. So it's almost like this is why support for the center right just keeps shrinking and these far right people keep getting popular. But that's what I have to say on this subject. This is the Orana Nation.